Another funny comment, Tony. They freed you.
They freed me.
For
Yes,
a
they
long
did.
time there, the chat thought you were in jail or something, or
jail.
behind bars in a prison. They were like, free
something.
Tony, and it was like trending there for a few days. But no, that's funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah, Tony's free today. He's with
free.
us today. You're gonna have him for the entire midday show, and it's gonna be good stuff here. Someone said Apple's kind of breaking lows. It did. It just made a new low in the day. 145.81 is the low. So it just kind of touched there. It is potentially giving a little bit of bounce, but it is like trending downwards today, considerably weaker. We already talked about how it is trading less volume. I was just kind of watching the market at the same time, see if that's going to break a new low. The low in the market was like around like 40.81, 40.85 is seems to be a level, right? So it isn't quite breaching that quite yet. But if Apple continues downwards, then maybe the market's gonna keep pulling downwards as well. We always talked about Apple and the likes of Microsoft being kind of like the big barometers, right? But look at Microsoft today. I haven't even looked at Microsoft yet, but it is actually up. It's basically flat, but it's showing a little bit more strength. So not always gonna be trading the exact same way as the market, but Apple definitely weaker, and then Microsoft definitely stronger. And in that sense, I want to take a look at Tesla as well. Tesla, we talked about how it was stronger in the morning, but now faded below VWAP. Hasn't been able to reclaim the 750 level, but you know what? It's still up about 2% on the day. So Tesla is a stronger stock in comparison to the others. So maybe if the market does bounce, if it does sort of bounce off this level and start to rally back up, maybe turn green on the day or at least break even, you're going to see another strong move from Tesla for sure. Now more people are like, oh, free Tony. Tony seems like a very genuine dude. Yeah, he is.
Thank you so much.
He definitely is. GME long with a decent stop working well. Let's take a quick look at GME. Tony talked about GME and AMC briefly there. I talked about it yesterday. It breached 150, broke out 150. We got like $3 in the play. But then it just kind of faded the entire move. And now look at today, continuation of that downward move, down now to 130. Just kind of looking at the daily, just trying to see if there's any sort of support area here.
For a general sense, I see the comments here. I would go skydiving with Tony. I would have a beer with Tony. Thank you, guys. I would get a beer and go skydiving with you guys as well.
Beer while skydiving?
While skydiving. I haven't thought of that, but you're giving me ideas over here. I thought somebody else was also asking.
These are crazy ideas, guys.
Crazy ideas. And I think somebody else asked me, what do you think the primary differences are between the Canadian and the U.S. economy? I can't speak on behalf of everything. I'm not an economist, but I think the story with me, at least, between the U.S. and Canada was that I grew up in Canada, went to the States for around 10 years, lived in mostly Florida and St. Augustine. If some of you guys are from there, St. Augustine, shout out. As well as Atlanta, Georgia, where I did my undergrad degree. Now back in Canada because visa immigration issues. Basically same thing with Valeria, but me over in the States. So I came back to Canada. Overall, I'd say it's pretty funny. The countries are quite similar. I know most of Canada is very much close to the U.S. border, and I think culturally, there's not too much difference. I like. Everybody was nice to me no matter where I was. But as for the economy, I think the biggest differences are when you have the Canadian exchanges. Most of the companies there are not startup tech companies. A lot of them are small mining companies and small energy companies. And so if you look at the TSX, actually, it's not doing as bad as or not as poorly as some of the American composite indices. Here we're down, pretty much less than 10% actually on the TSX composite, which is kind of funny because some of the largest companies are gold and oil companies. They have not been really afflicted as quite as much. Whereas you look at the S&P, we're down, I think, over 10% now, well over 10%, almost down 20% from a while ago. But it's actually interesting because besides that, I noticed that the huge difference is between the U.S. and the Canadian banks. And what I mean by that is, I noticed that the U.S. banks have been taking a real hard beating in recent times. I think this has a lot to do with interest rates. Bank of America, for instance, $50 at the high there, now down 30%. Citigroup, a bit more leverage, I think $82 all the way down to $50. JP Morgan, similar story here, as along with Wells Fargo. Meanwhile, you take a bank like Royal Bank of Canada, RBC here, and they've been pretty well in terms of customer support, so I'll give RBC a shout out. Also a large company, $150 billion in market cap. But meanwhile, it's actually kind of interesting. Look at this. The high of the year was $119, and now we're at $104. So we're down less than 15%, where the U.S. banks were down at least twice as much. And so the question is there, what happened? And I think from what I've been seeing, a lot of these Canadian banks are a lot more focused on the traditional banking side. So think mortgages or traditional business loans, things like that. Less so M&As that and more speculative business deals that fluctuate very wildly with the markets. Obviously, with the higher interest rate environment not helping that. I think J.P. Morgan said they expected full year M&A revenue to come down around 36 to 39%. And so something that doesn't impact RBC as much. But also over here in Canada, the higher interest rates actually help out a lot of the banks because I know in the States, the freest money I heard that you can ever get is to take out a 30-year fixed mortgage back in 2020 or 2021. To put it into perspective, I saw that in November of 2021, if you take a look at the average fixed mortgage rates for the 30-year on the Fed data, it was pretty much like as late as December, really, or as late as November, you could have gotten yourself a mortgage below 3% a year. Nowadays, we pretty much went above 5%. And so that's absolutely crazy. If you look at if you take a look at the 30-year government bond now for the States, it's pretty much, I believe, above 3%. So to put that in perspective, today, you would make more money lending to the U.S. government than 6 months ago a bank would make while lending money to the average home buyer. And the average home buyer can't simply print money out of thin air whenever it likes to. And so that's just absolutely crazy when you think about how expensive money has gotten. We don't have 30-year fixed mortgage rates here in Canada, however, which makes things a lot better for the banks here. We do the
So let's take a quick look at that. It was funny because yesterday, when GME was breaking at 150, it looked like it was going to go. And we were thinking man, what if we were wrong this entire time? What if the apes were actually wrong and, the squeeze is coming right now? It's happening right now. And then it just faded the entire move. And then we were oh, super disappointed. AMC, we talk about this 10 level holding. Until then, until it breaks down there, I will be slightly more bullish above it. But it's kind of just not doing anything. I was expecting a bigger move the past couple days with GME, especially kind of going off as well. But it just hasn't been really doing anything, pushing less volume, only 19 million shares traded today. I remember when AMC was going off, it was doing 100 mil plus, right? So, it was doing a lot more volatility, but not really doing too much. So, that's kind of it on that front, right? But if it does pick up, then we'll definitely take a look. Someone shouted out AMD again, so let's take a look at that. It did kind of bounce off this 101. This 101 level has kind of been a level for the past couple days at least. Not quite to that $100 level, but it bounced at 101 mid-afternoon yesterday, and now it looks like it's giving a bounce as well here on the midday show as well. So it could push up to VWAP, but we're talking about this market kind of just super range bound. Right, so it is giving a bounce off the bottom, but is it going to be a continued move to the upside? Time will tell. But it obviously is struggling rather with the 4100 area as well. AMD probably struggling with VWAP on the upside there. AERC ripping. Let's take a quick look at that to see if that's actually going. It kind of is, but it hasn't breached high a day yet. High a day is 1010. It just kind of tested close to $10 there. I wasn't watching the tape at the time, but maybe there was some size there, and that's why I rejected. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this to see if it starts to go as well. Just kind of looking back at momentum stocks here. PBTS kind of pulled back a lot. I'll bring that up here. After it kind of rejected 150, it just faded the entire move, and now we're testing to where we're below where it halted originally, right? So some considerable weakness there right now, but it obviously is up 200% on the day, guys. Don't get me wrong, this is a huge move. Will it continue for the rest of the day? Who knows? But a little bit riskier to kind of buy a dip on this one, just because who knows where it can go, right? It's up 200%. I don't really see any levels. Obviously, if you look at the daily, there's no levels. The nearest level is 45 cents, right? So literally at the open today. So is this going to retrace the entire move? Probably not. But I don't know where to get long on this one. So I'm probably just going to leave it alone for now. And some people are saying AERC took high a day. So we'll just quickly take back a look at that. We were just on it. But it did just take high a day there. And it's blasting out, making new highs. Some buying definitely coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. AERC high of day, that's always a good sign if you want to go in. That increases the chance of it going parabolic, and also increases the chance that you're going with the trend rather than against it. And so for now, I think I'm going to enter a small position, seeing what happens. to that. But nonetheless, I think overall, you're right. I think a lot of these names have been a bit overextended for today. Now trying to cool off just a little bit. I know Pet's now down to 35 cents, down from 44 it was a second ago. What else you have over here? Top gainers for today. PBTS, I exited that position, I will say, at a loss, unfortunately. I was hoping that would be my play of the day, but got a bit greedy. I think the pullback was quite significant. Now back down to $1.17 from high of day $1.48. Taking a look at what happens here on the top gainers list, actually, not huge names. I see a lot of names below $1 trying to rally. AUVI, this was like $15, $20 last year, up $50 50% today. But nonetheless, it's crazy to see how far a lot of these names have fallen. But besides the top names for today, I don't think too many names are ripping too hard. If you take a look at the most actives, I'd say overall mixed day. You have some names down quite a bit. PDD, another Chinese name. Novavax now down 14%. That short you initiated was pretty great there. Zendesk under realization that there is no buyout, down 12% now. A lot of the shipping companies have been down quite a bit, and Carnival now also down 7% on the day. Today just a red day overall. Roku now at $95. That buyout probably wouldn't happen over from Netflix. So without that, I think Roku can easily go back to the 80. Besides that, there is I think the markets today are just more or less indecisive. Q is now trying to recover once again, down just 0.5%, I'd say at this point. Again, CPI number, as Ian was mentioning, will be the primary catalyst for tomorrow, and I think that could shake the markets 1 or 2% in either direction. So who can really say what might happen there? But overall on the markets today, I think is just nothing too exciting. I know another topic that affected a lot of these growth companies was the hiring freeze and layoffs. I was reading an article yesterday morning, actually, about a nice young man who recently graduated from I think University of Michigan or some school like that. I think undergrad degree for one guy, and another guy had a graduate degree. Both of them accepted jobs at Coinbase. I think back in February, they had offers to other tech giants as well, Amazon, Oracle being some of those names. And Coinbase, from the article, they rescinded the offer for a lot of these individuals. 300 people, or around 300 people, said that they have lost jobs because Coinbase not only stopped the hiring, but also rescinded offers for people that they already given offers to. And so if that's not a negative indicator for the economy, I don't really know what is. So Coinbase, I was going to buy shares of this. I kind of wanted to, but I don't think you can just do people dirty like that, in real life, where you give them an offer and you yoink it away just because you have company issues there. But in the broader scheme, I know Snapchat also gave a negative guidance warning for Q2, saying they're not going to have positive EBITDA or positive cash flow, I believe, for this quarter in Q2. So now still down $14, all the way back down from 82 or so. This is going to be one hell of a play once earnings come, I believe, late next month. And on top of that, Tesla, we can take another look at that name. Elon Musk said he had a very negative feeling about the economy, and he had he made a mandate to release 10% of the workforce. So I think negative signs are all over regarding the economy. I think it's actually funny to see what happens to Twitter today as well. This is a name I'm surprised still holding above 40. I think Twitter, whether or not it gets bought up by Elon Musk or not, at this point, it's like a coin flip decision. I'm not a legal expert. I think Elon Musk, if you can make the case that a lot of his financiers are not going to give him the debt funding to pursue the Twitter deal unless Twitter can prove that not more than 5% of its users are bots. If he can prove that he can't get the financing at all unless Twitter gives him the data, then he has like a legal recourse to not do the deal. But other than that, I think it's a 50-50 what happens to Twitter, and the market might be pricing it. So if you take the 54.20 benchmark here, one might say that on the low side, if the deal doesn't go through, Twitter might fall all the way back to $26. But anyhow, I think we're going over a bit. Now we have Sector Watch over with Brendan, so I'll throw it right over to him, talking about the overall markets today and what they're doing.
Let's throw it. There we go. Let's go to check the overall markets here, guys. 12:30. That means we're on our way through lunch, the lunch period anyway. Still a negative session. Going forward to the downside here for the S&P, about 0.5% now. For the Dow, the NASDAQ, 0.4 to the downside as well. Crude oil here has gone negative on the session as well. You remember, it was one of the only things, or one of the only areas of the overall market kind of holding up throughout the morning. Still red there for cryptocurrencies as well. Yeah, pretty red board to show you, unfortunately. The S&P 0.4, as I said, here to the downside. Still a few things standing out as strong. NXPI, remember there was reports this morning, Samsung could be interested in NXPI. Retailers up here showing some strength as well. Lowe's and Home Depot specifically. Dollar General, there's Tasco, POOL. Starbucks I saw having a nice day, finally back to the upside 2%. I want to mention banks here. Banks really lagging.
I think there's a lot of hiring freezes recently. Netflix, I think, said laid off 150 people over back in May, which it's not a lot of people. I think they have over 10,000 people on payroll. Nonetheless, though, I think what I mean to say is that the employment numbers might not start looking so good as well if this keeps on happening between larger companies. And somebody was asking me about the CPI reading. I believe the last one was in April, and it came out to around 8.1%, which was not higher than what the previous one was, or I think we're just around the same. And so people are thinking, is this plateauing? Is it like, sometimes you see, on charts, I don't know how to put up the inflation chart, but if you take a look at CVNA, this thing looks like a very nice curvature over here. Not perfect, but it kind of looks like this. And so people are asking, like, oh, are we like here in the inflation cycle? Like, is this the top? Is this 8%, or is 8% here, or hopefully not 8% is over here, and we start reaching like 16% here or something like that. For me personally, I think 8% is around the top, if not over here. I think when supply chain issues start resolving themselves, we will see lower aggregate demand. We're already seeing lower aggregate demand as employment starts to fall a little bit. Not a good thing, obviously, but a consequence of what ends up happening in such a hot economy. Now it's getting slower with the higher interest rate rises. You have a lot of speculative companies not quite being able to finance their projects any longer. But one other thing I was interested in actually talking about, not sure if there's any Forex traders over here in the chat, but the US dollar is still looking really strong for a day, up 0.5% on ECB news, looking to raise interest rates over there in Europe. The DXY here, dollar index, it's doing incredibly well. And in fact, what's really funny, actually, is specifically between the US dollar and the Japanese yen. Japanese yen, if you guys aren't too familiar, which you're at 134, which is actually crazy. Reason being is that why the U.S. dollar is up 20-year highs versus the Japanese yen is I think the interest rate differential between them. In Japan, you have a lot of issues there with their economy, unfortunately. One of them being just a stagnant economy. There's a lot of reasons behind that. One of it is that they have a pretty strict immigration policy. Also, they're a very conservative work culture. Not a lot of people getting married. You have a lot of 30, 40-year-olds giving up on love, marrying anime character, kind of like myself, kind of. But I'm just an oddball here. But the problem with that is there's low population, or low birth rates, and so the issue there, you don't have a lot of young people coming in with the aggregate demand, and so you have a slowing aging workforce. And the problem here is now the Bank of Japan decided that they're going to keep the interest rates at negative 0.1%. That's symbolic. It's not a huge negative number. The problem is that it significantly devalues the Japanese yen. And you can kind of see the Japanese yen has been traditionally referred to as a safe currency during times of crisis. You can see during the tech crash or during 2008, the reason why the USD depreciates against the Japanese yen is it's part of the carrying trade. If you're a Forex trader, it's, back in the day I've heard, it's very common to do the Aussie yen trade where the Bank of Australia pays you a positive interest rate of around 1.5% or close to 2% perhaps back in the day. Whereas the Bank of Japan pays you for borrowing its money. So the trade used to be you'd borrow the Japanese yen to go ahead and buy some Australian dollars. And so you can see this trade worked out quite well in the years where the market was hot. But it's kind of funny, even now the Australian dollars has been appreciating against the yen just because of how much Bank of Japan is devaluing its own currency. And so I think that's one strategy that is kind of opposite to what Jay Powell is doing. Jay Powell, in my opinion, he's late, but he's getting there. I think Jay Powell, as people have said, he's more reactionary than trying to predict what happens to the markets. And without information coming in about the high inflation, he doesn't just hear rumors about it and makes a decision. Once he sees the number, then he starts to increase the rates just a little bit. But he at some point increases the rates. I think he's slow, but he gets there. Bank of Japan has said, yep, we know inflation is pretty much a thing. We're not going to do anything about it. And, that's what happens. To stimulate the economy, they're devaluing their currency here, and that's exactly what we've been seeing. USD, JPY, 20-year highs. And this looks like it's going to break this previous high and go even higher. We might see 25-year highs for USD JPY. So that's just one thing I thought was really, really fascinating to talk about. Anyhow, this is not very interesting, I know, for day trading. What about you?
Tony, dropping the knowledge bombs. Everyone kind of going off there loving the knowledge that Tony brings to the show, and he drops on the show for you guys. Man, I got to say, I got to ask one question. What did you study in school?
I did study finance in school. That was
okay.
Yeah, not so much economics. I know somebody asked me if I was an economics major. I think no, I'm humbled. I think that's more of a side interest that I've been paying a little bit more attention to in recent times. As it's like for me, most of my life, the market just goes up, straight up. So it's like, oh, the market's going down now. I wonder why. What are the reasons behind it? So, that's something I've personally been interested in.
Yeah, Tony, why are you so smart? You know what? I'm learning from Tony as well, just kind of sitting beside him. So yeah, no, hey, thanks for asking. No, I was always kind of wondering that as well. Yeah, no, he's super smart, and glad to have him here on the show. And that being said, let's do the YouTube spiel. Let's smash the like button. I know Bears versus Bulls has been doing that in the chat there. We thank you for that. But yeah, smash the like button, guys. Smash the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. And so you can keep seeing more shows with Tony here, and you can keep dropping more knowledge for you guys. Tony, the man, the legend. Yeah, he's here. He is going to be on more often. Like you're on like Tuesdays now, right? Tony
Yeah,
Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
Right.
Tuesdays
So
Tony.
yeah, we are going to
Stay
get
tuned for
more.
that.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to get more Tony knowledge moving forward for sure. Back to the markets, guys.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, actually, but I think we have a segment over here with Brendan. I think we're going to throw it to him real quick, but we'll get right
No,
back
I
to you.
think that's coming at. No, it's coming up. Oh, it is. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, sorry. To Brendan.
I love the crib notes. It's awesome. Quickly, guys, Robinhood, day lows here on a volume spike. Sam Bankman-Fried, just on CNBC, didn't really say anything about Robinhood or to the point of possibly looking to purchase a trading platform. Remember, this was catching a bid going back a week or so ago on reports that SBF was trying or looking into maybe purchasing a larger stake of Robinhood. But day lows here for Hood, guys, on SBF. No comment.
Thank you, Brendan, there for that quick news. Yeah, no, people are saying don't correct Tony. Tony has the earpiece in. I don't have the earpiece in, so I can't hear when they're telling him to switch to Brendan. So that's why there. But no, we have a schedule. A lot of new segments coming in for the show. We're always kind of improving the show. And it keeps growing. So, that's why we all appreciate the support and appreciate you guys watching every day. But yeah, back to the markets, guys. You guys are still kind of going off about AER, still kind of doing the same thing. Microsoft was considerably stronger on the day, so I want to take a look at that. Wow, look at that. Still trading above VWAP, right? So if the market kind of does go, Microsoft can keep pushing to the upside. Back to Meta again. Meta kind of fading the entire move, right? So that's all.
Oh, it's delicious. I'm going to get some down myself afterwards.
Yeah, we're always kind of talking about the lunches here, right?
Lunches are really good.
We're blessed to have the catered lunches, and they are pretty good. So yeah. Sean obviously enjoying his lunch over there, so let's leave him alone for now. And Sean Katina, hashtag show us the food. I don't know if that's going to start trending, but yeah, maybe. We'll see. Thick boy salad. Oh, man. This is
Rabbit food.
Rabbit food. Now you guys are going off about food. Man, we talked yesterday for like 20 minutes. We mentioned dips and pizza, and then the chat just like kind of went off about pizza.
You're making me hungry.
Yeah, no, this is lunch. Tony and I haven't had our lunch yet, guys. So, if you guys keep talking about food, we're just going to keep getting hungry, and we're going to get a little bit too distracted. Tony, how much do you bench?
Oh, no, I don't. I benched a bar. I swear. That's all I can do. I think the camera makes it look a little bit wider, but no, I got noodle arms over here, I assure you.
Noodle arms. Show us the food. Now maybe it starts to trend. Let's get back to the markets, guys. What are you guys kind of looking at? Shout it out in the chat. What tickers you guys are looking at? What tickers do you want to trade, and what tickers do you have an interest in that you might want to get a little bit more insight there on? We'll love to kind of share our insights with it. I want to take a look back at the Chinese stocks, and I saw Sean made a comment earlier. BABA 110 exclamation mark question mark. Like, man, look, it's faded the entire move. We talked about how this 125 level was a level from the daily. Obviously, negative catalyst today, but look at this, man. Down 7.5% on the day. It was up 20% yesterday. It's faded like half the move now, and you guys have the work chat? We don't have the work chat, no. Yeah, no, so it's fading the entire move and, showing a lot of weakness. It looks like the market's kind of testing VWAP now. Is it going to break out to the upside? It's broken out above 40. Okay, yeah, let's click on this link. And then look what it says about Alibaba and then understand why.
Oh,
yeah, so we're going to take a quick break for a moment, throw it back to Brendan.
Quickly, guys, Kohl's moving here. Looks like this deal finally done. Franchise group getting apparently an unconventional Apollo loan to get this deal done. So a big move up here for KSS.
Okay, HS, wow, moving a little bit up, I think here.
Did you want to quickly talk about that?
Yeah, so I'll just take a moment here. I think not moving an awful lot, but as Brandon was saying, something about the financing looking good. So this was a bio candidate a while ago, and it's holding up better than a lot of other retail stocks. We'll see if that deal actually does go through. But sorry, back to you about Sean has a nice sticky note over here, I think.
Yeah, no, Sean, just want to kind of bring up the sticky note again here, and he posts this every morning for everyone to kind of see. And yeah, he was short 118, short around 118. Have patience here. So he was expecting to short the entire day, but look at this. Like, he was definitely right about that one. It's faded the entire move. Look at where it tested, guys. Look at where it tested. 118.
Wow.
I think you had that short, right? Yeah, he's nodding. He says yes. He had that short. It didn't quite test like 120 area. You could have shorted the lower high, right? Lower high at 118, fading the entire move. He nailed this one right on the head.
Right on the head is right. Wow, what a trade. Alibaba moving towards the downside here. I think following a lot of Chinese stocks as well. I mean, it's deserved in a little bit, in a bit of a sense, I should say, because we were at $82, I think, just about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and now we're all the way back to, we hit 120 yesterday. So a bit of a correction, a bit of a pullback, just a slight one. But this name here, it's I think it's very, very news dependent. I mean, this trades in Hong Kong as well, so you wake up and it could be a huge gap up or a huge gap down. Who's to say? Yeah, Alibaba today just cooling back a little bit after the COVID news. I think where China's opening up some places again, which is always good. I think people are talking about over here on the Qs, or just the markets in general, I should say, covering just a little bit. AERC as well. That's a name I really regret getting out of. So am I trying to get this out of the way. Geez, this is not cooperating with me. I have no idea how Pratt does this. I'm trying to. Pratt, I salute you. Your PC's trying to playing with me over here. How you managed to make this work, I don't know. But anyhow, AERC today, I think, tried to hit a high of 1180, and now we're pulling back to 50 cents a little bit now. I think this rally might need a little bit of a fade, and then we'll see if they back over. But again, you can see I got in 1030 or 1027. I got out 1030. So that could have been a lot better play if I'd only held. But yeah, that seems to be a major play on AERC. As for the overall markets, looks like we are bouncing back just a little bit. I would not be surprised if we end up flat on the day today, just because again, it's going to be news dependent on tomorrow. As for what the readings are, I believe last reading was 8.1%. Is that the highest? Is that the peak? Will we finally see something below 8? We'll find out tomorrow. And I've been noticing the inflation personally quite a bit. Burger King, by the way, this is not sponsored. Burger King has done a pretty decent job holding their prices down. They don't like to raise their prices. Sometimes they have to raise their prices. Burger King here in Canada did not raise their prices for quite a while now. So salute to Burger King. McDonald's getting a little bit pricier, I've noticed. Might have to go there a little bit less. What about you? You noticed any?
I want to bring up one thing that you said here. When you were on I think it was the closing show with these guys, Sean asked you, what's your favorite meat? Oh, yeah. And you were like, Burger King meat.
Burger King meat.
Do you want to expand a little bit on that, Tony? Like, what did you kind of mean by that? What's the difference between Burger King meat and any other kind of meat?
Okay. I'll say the reason I like it so much, it's as for the taste, I think McDonald's has, I'll be real, I think McDonald's has a pure taste. Burger King, the reason I love it so much is I respect their values, and their values is we will not hurt the consumer. So that makes the meat taste good. They haven't raised their prices in a long time, and I go there pretty often. They have the 2 for $8 there with the Whoppers over here in Canada, which is like 2 for $6 over in the States. And so that's something I like to consume. And so the reason I like Burger King meat is because it tastes like I'm not getting ripped off. That's the reason I love it so much,
It tastes like you're not getting ripped off. I like that. Yeah, you see, now we're like super hungry. The chat's like going off about Whoppers, and someone mentioned White Castle. We don't have White Castle here in Canada. I love to try White Castle. I don't think I've ever had it, but where's the beef? Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, it's just beef, man. Like, it's just beef. Anyways, guys, let's please stop talking about lunch.
Ooh, lunch, yeah.
I wanted to bring up NIO here. NIO, and something Sean said on the morning show. NIO has moved from $14 to $20 in like a week and a half, right? So he was like, it's got to retrace the move. It's not the entire move, but it's got to pull back at the very least, right? It is giving a pullback here, but I kind of want to talk about, following the rules. And one thing that Sean pointed out on the sticky note is patience, right? And I did not have patience on NIO today. I tried shorting it multiple times here, just kind of getting run over as it was kind of, going on a steady uptrend in the morning. Right? And we always talk about participating, not anticipating. And that's what I was kind of trying to do, trying to short off these highs in the morning. And I was just kind of kept getting run over. And, obviously we talked about NIO being on my blacklist now. Maybe it is. Maybe it will not if I start to learn how to trade it a little bit better and get a better read on it. But yeah, just be a little bit more patient. Kind of looking off levels here. Obviously 20 is a level, but intraday there was this consolidation area around 1970 to this 20 area. So all you had to kind of do was wait for that to kind of be put in, and more selling volume, more selling momentum to the downside, and then you could have shorted off the lower high, right? So I was trying to pick a top. If you can pick tops and pick bottoms, you'd be one hell of a trader. But yeah, not today for me on NIO. It is kind of retracing the move here, giving a larger pullback, down 7.5% on the day. But yeah, some poor trades for me on NIO there.
Oh, no worries. In the choppy market, that happens. I got stopped out on quite a few of mine as well, including PBTS, and I sold that AERC way too early. But one name I think I try to get into trading these days is Robinhood. I think it's a very news-dependent stock at the moment. I think SEC member was going to talk about payment for order flow and competition in terms of where Robinhood sends its orders and how they actually get the best price. I didn't read an awful lot into that, but I know it's a huge controversy among the Wall Street Bets ape community. Not so happy with how Robinhood has been routing their orders and halting trades. So that is some news to look out for. Robinhood. We had this bit of a pop over here, I believe, back in late March when everything was rallying. We had this slight gap up on the Sam Bankman-Fried news that he took a large position over at 13. But now we're about to test all-time lows again on Robinhood, and so that does not look very appetizing. I do see somebody saying, take a look at DOMA, D-O-M-A, and I will pull it up. DOMA Holdings. Unfortunately, I can't say I've been too familiar with this name over here. Down 10% on the day on news that, well, actually, this was a while ago, not sure. Wow, this was a SPAC, I believe. Between at $10 for a while, and then once it de-SPACed, it immediately tanked. I guess not in the best environment over in July. But wow, $1.74 here, down 10% on the day. I'm guessing it's news related, perhaps on warrant redemption or lockup expiry, something like that. Yeah, it's down quite a bit today. I would not be trading SPACs in this market. Everything looks to be down. I think a favorite of mine back during SPAC mania was Romeo Power. People were saying this is founded or at least co-founded by Tesla engineers, or at least there's a rumor of that back in the day. I can't confirm. I didn't do my own independent research, but that doesn't matter back in SPAC mania because the rumor was enough to bring you from the SPAC all the way to $38. Of course, since SPAC mania, even in most of last year, market has not been very friendly to SPAC names, and so here you have a lot of EV names just down quite a bit. And despite that, I think Tesla's been holding up quite well. It's interesting. People have been saying, Elon Musk shouldn't have done that Twitter deal. It really harmed his stock. Maybe it had an effect, but overall, I think Tesla still holding up really, really well compared to the rest of the tech space. Down, I think, less than 40% from the highs, or just over 40%, I should say. So Tesla, a very strong name there. Before I pass it back to Ian, I just want to say, I think a while ago, 2 or 3 people asked me what my favorite anime was, and I got to say, it's going to be Steins Gate. I'm a mad scientist. At least I see myself as one. But if you guys watch that, you get the reference. Anyhow, passing it back to Ian for some of his actual trades.
Some people talking about INTC. I got the monthly chart here up. INTC, similar chart to a lot of things in the markets. On the monthly chart here, it is kind of fading a little bit more to the bearish side. Here, I marked down 42. It's obviously broken down below that, but looks like probably 30, 38 is a level. Next potential support, that was like a little consolidation here, a double top here, and eventually broke out, and then we got all this action above, right? But that was all the way back in 2017. So we are breaking to new levels here that we haven't seen for years now, right? So similar to a lot of stocks, so kind of just keep that in mind. Coke or Pepsi, Tony? That's what the next question is.
I went to Emory University. We got sponsored by Coke. We got a building named after Coke called Coke Commons, and we named the building after one of their founders. So I got to say Coke, otherwise my school might take away my diploma. But I got to be true to the mad scientist, Dr. Pepper. That's the intellectual drink.
Dr. Pepper is like the dark horse of sodas. Like, it's funny because like I like Coke too, but I'll drink Dr. Pepper when it's there because it's a pretty rare drink. Like, not every time you get to like just drink Dr. Pepper or whatever. And then I'll drink Dr. Pepper. My girlfriend will be like, "Why are you drinking that?" I'm like, "Have you had it? Like, it's so good."
It is.
Don't sleep on Dr. Pepper, guys. But Dr. Pepper tastes like toothpaste. I don't know about that one. Like, maybe it is like an acquired taste, if you will.
Acquired taste, perhaps.
But it's great. What else do you guys want to talk about? Let's stop talking about food and drinks, guys. I'm getting way too hungry, man. Like,
Tony haven't ate lunch. We're
Tony and I haven't
ate
lunch yet, so we're getting starving here.
Like consumer staple stores, and Five Below is more like a consumer discretionary store. It's more fun stuff geared toward younger people. Candy, games, toys, books, things like that. It's much less food and groceries and cooking supplies and stuff like that that you would get at those other stores. But looking at the chart here, it's been a kind of a rougher past couple of months for this name. The stock, if you look at point A, bottomed out around 112. And I thought this was an interesting point because it's roughly right about where we have our minus 100% linear regression channel in purple there. So linear regression channels, they're based off of our blue linear regression line, and we simply take the most extreme point and that creates our two purple lines. We extrapolate it to the other side from that most extreme closing price, and it gives us kind of a boundary to tell when prices are at an extreme point or a point of fair value. Then the 50% channel in those lavender colors is simply just half the distance between the linear regression line and the 100% channel. So it gives us some boundaries to keep an eye on, and it held up pretty well this time. Point A was a point where the decline stopped. We reversed out of this downward sloping trend line. But if you look at point B, we didn't really get a ton of follow through. It's kind of just been moving sideways, not really showing a lot of conviction to the upside after we had this move. So it's been kind of hugging that minus 50% linear regression channel, bouncing above and below it, but not really able to resume its climb back above that gap that we had downward before. So that's where we are right now. 112 to the downside is a floor. 136 is a ceiling. That's about where prices topped out, and that's about where the the post-gap prices opened up. Finally, looking at point C, momentum is waning a little bit today according to our moving average convergence divergence indicator, also known as the MACD. It's our two specially constructed moving average lines. They're starting to get closer together, which shows that the bullish momentum is starting to slow a little bit here.
Yeah, and you can really see that bullish momentum slowing, Rick, is that we are in such a clear downtrend just consistently. There's been some choppiness to get there, but the move today definitely not adding any positivity to that. Although, Alex, you did point out that we are off intraday lows.
Intraday, aber am Ende des Tages hat sich dann doch wieder relativ wenig verändert. Dünnstes Volumen. Die Anleger warten wahrscheinlich auf 3 Großereignisse. Morgen die EZB, am Freitag die Daten zur Inflation in den USA und nächste Woche dann die FED-Sitzung. Aber schauen wir uns zunächst mal das nächstliegende Großereignis an. Und das ist die Sitzung der EZB. Und ich wüsste jetzt keine Notenbank in der Geschichte, wenn man so will, die jemals so in der Klemme gesessen ist wie die Europäische Notenbank. Die hat lange das Inflationsthema versucht zu leugnen. Jetzt kann sie nicht mehr anders im Rahmen des monetären Klimawandels als das tun, was andere Notenbanken längst schon gemacht haben. Und gleichzeitig ist sie jetzt vor die Situation gestellt, dass, weil sie jetzt das Ruder rumreißen muss, die Renditen für Staatsanleihen geradezu durch die Decke schießen. Das wiederum will die EZB nicht, weil dann die Kreditaufnahme für die so hochverschuldeten Südländer noch teurer wird, die Schuldenlast immer schwerer wird. Also was tun? Auf der einen Seite musst du die Inflation bekämpfen, auf der anderen Seite willst du, dass die Renditen nicht noch weiter steigen. Das ist eine ausweglose Situation, die dadurch zustande gekommen ist, dass die EZB eben gepennt hat, praktisch in die ihrem Elfenturm an der Realität vorbeigelebt hat. Hunderte, Tausende von Wissenschaftlern machen Wirtschafts- und Inflationsprognosen und all das kann man in die Tonne klopfen, weil es nichts wert ist, weil die Realität sich anders entwickelt hat, absehbar anders entwickelt hat, muss man leider sagen. Aber gut, Elfenbeinturm und EZB, das sind zwei Dinge, die sehr gut zusammenpassen. Hier zum Beispiel schon in der Presse, hier im Fokus etwa, Wende in der Geldpolitik. EZB bekämpft das Inflationsfeuer mit der Wasserpistole. Also der Spott ist geradezu in den Medien ja inzwischen schon mainstreammäßig angekommen. Man weiß, dass das alles natürlich nicht reichen wird bei einer Inflation von 8%, mal die Zinsen vielleicht jetzt zweimal in diesem Jahr, vielleicht dreimal in diesem Jahr und 0,75% anheben. Dazu will man bis Ende des dritten Quartals immer noch Benzin ins Feuer gießen durch Anleihekäufe. Also man hebt auf der einen Seite die Zinsen an, auf der anderen Seite lässt man das Quantitative Easing weiter laufen, kauft also Banken. Da müssen ganze Abteilungen bei Banken dann Formulare ausfüllen und zugeben, dass sie vielleicht einem Ölkonzern einen Kredit gegeben haben. Igitt. Und das wiederum führt dazu, dass dann das Rating der Bank praktisch bei der EZB sinkt. Das heißt, die betroffene Bank, die eben an fossile Energieförderer Kredite vergibt, die muss sich dann teurer am Markt refinanzieren. Also es ist unglaublich. Im Grunde müsste man die EZB, wenn man es ehrlich meint, mal verklagen und sagen, Leute, das ist euer Auftrag, das steht im Vertrag, aber ihr führt Klimastresstests durch, indem ihr sagt, naja, Klimawandel hat ja Einfluss auf die Finanzstabilität und wir sind ja zuständig für Finanzstabilität, ja, aber mit dem Klimawandel, da kann ich letztendlich alles rechtfertigen, da kann ich mir jede Kompetenz, jedes Mandat ranziehen und sagen, ja, muss ich ja tun wegen dem Klimawandel, also das ist windelweich. Jetzt hat man ja schon gegen die EZB geklagt, mal wegen den Anleihekäufen. Die Kläger sind damit natürlich gescheitert, weil auch die Richter inzwischen da politisiert sind, also alles so ein bisschen grün gewaschen ist im Hirn. Dementsprechend kann es da keine Chance geben, wahrscheinlich für eine solche Klage, aber eigentlich müsste man es tun. Vielleicht findet sich ein Staatsrechtler, der sagt, ja stimmt, irgendwie kann das ja wohl nicht funktionieren. Aber zurück zur Bundesbank, die hat es geschafft, eine vergleichsweise hohe Inflation durch Zinsanhebungen wirklich zu bekämpfen und die Bundesbank hat das getan, was notwendig war. Sie hat die Zinsen angehoben, ob es der Wirtschaft oder den Märkten oder der Politik gepasst hat oder nicht und damit war sie glaubhaft, damit war sie etwas, was wirklich eine Institution war, eine glaubwürdige Institution war. Die EZB hat ihre Glaubwürdigkeit schon längst verloren. Und auch bei den Anleihemärkten offenkundig verloren. Denn weil die EZB so lange nichts getan hat, steigen die Renditen massiv. Wir sehen die deutsche Staatsanleihe noch am geringsten rentierend mit 1,35%. Klingt erstmal nicht viel, aber wenn wir sehen, wie schnell wir jetzt hochgekommen sind von Negativrenditen auf diese 1,35%, dann Frankreich 1,87%, aber vor allem Italien 3,36%, 22 Basispunkte seit Monatsbeginn. Über 20 Basispunkte bei all diesen Anleihen seit Monatsbeginn. Das sind also sehr schnelle Bewegungen an den Anleihemärkten, weil die sagen, ja, was soll die EZB tun? Sie muss jetzt geldpolitisch auf die Bremse treten, muss die Zinsen anheben. Wir sehen auch, dass der Euro ein bisschen stärker wird derzeit. Auf der anderen Seite will sie es eigentlich nicht, weil sie ja Italien, Spanien, Portugal weiter faktisch staatsfinanzieren will durch ihre Anleihekäufe. Man nimmt ja da als Zwischenhändler die Banken und sagt, ja, was wir die Banken kaufen, ist keine Staatsfinanzierung. Es ist so, wie wenn sie Drogen kaufen, aber einen Zwischenhändler haben und nicht direkt beim Dealer kaufen, haben sie auch keine Drogen gekauft. Das Argument ist wirklich zwingend. Ja, da muss man sagen, das ist großartig. Und schauen Sie sich weiter steigende Renditen sehen. Also sagt man, okay, QE, Quantitative Easing, wollen wir beenden. Aber faktisch will man es gar nicht beenden und wird sich wahrscheinlich irgendwas einfallen lassen, damit man dann weiter diese Staatsfinanzierung betreiben kann. All das hat aber nicht geholfen, dass die Spreads, also die Zinsdifferenzen, die Renditedifferenzen zwischen der Benchmark der 10-jährigen deutschen Staatsanleihe und der 10-jährigen italienischen Staatsanleihe immer weiter steigt, über 2% jetzt beträgt. Und jetzt will man Vorschläge machen zu einem neuen Anleihekaufprogramm, wie auch immer das noch aussehen soll. Das wabert nur sehr unkonkret praktisch hier durch die Flure in Frankfurt. Das ist wirklich ein Drama, aus dem es scheinbar keinen Ausweg gibt. Es ist eben so, wenn eine Notenbank ihre Glaubwürdigkeit verliert, dann hat sie eigentlich alles verloren. Jetzt gibt es schlaue Theoretiker Und Wirtschaftswissenschaftler wie etwa Pt.2, der sagt, naja, wir könnten noch sowas einführen wie die Japaner, nämlich die sogenannte Yield Curve Control. Und wir sehen ja derzeit, wie den Japanern diese Yield Curve Control total um die Ohren fliegt. Wir sehen, dass der Yen praktisch im freien Fall ist, Dollar-Yen 134, höchster Stand seit 20 Jahren. Die Abwertung geht immer weiter, weil eben die japanische Notenbank Yield Curve Control betreibt. Das bedeutet, wenn Renditen für bestimmte Staatsanleihen ein bestimmtes Niveau erreichen, nämlich in der Höhe erreichen, dann kauft die Notenbank sofort Staatsanleihen, um die Renditen wieder nach unten zu drücken. Jetzt sagt Jörg Krämer richtigerweise, ja, damit würde faktisch die EZB ihre Unabhängigkeit aufgeben, denn je schneller oder wenn die Renditen steigen, dann müsste sie immer mehr von diesen Staatsanleihen kaufen, müsste damit also immer mehr Geld wieder ins System pumpen, würde damit immer mehr Benzin ins Feuer gießen, was die EZB ja sowieso schon tut. Also es ist ausweglos und wir sehen, dass jetzt schon Yield Curve Control diskutiert wird. Das ist natürlich ein Zeichen, dass man auf dem allerletzten Loche jetzt schon pfeift. Andere agieren anders. Okay, die haben vielleicht noch ein höheres Problem mit der Inflation, nämlich die Polen. Zuletzt 13,9%. Hier in dieser Grafik sehen wir mal, wie die Inflation gestiegen ist. Juli 21 noch bei 4,8%. Und dann im März 22 schon über 10, im April 12,3, jetzt 13,9 mit den Daten aus dem Mai. Aber die polnische Zentralbank, die tut etwas. Die hat jetzt die Zinsen um 0,75% Basispunkt, also 0,75% und 75 Basispunkte angehoben auf jetzt 6%. Also da passiert etwas und insgesamt ist die EZB eben jetzt in der dummen Situation, dass auf der einen Seite wahrscheinlich das Wachstum weiter nach unten gehen wird, aber die Inflation hoch bleiben dürfte. Das zumindest zeigen jetzt neueste Berechnungen der OECD. Ob die stimmen, sei mal dahingestellt, aber jedenfalls ist eines klar, das Wachstum, das man sich am Anfang des Jahres erträumt hatte vor dem Ukraine-Krieg, das wird so nicht mehr stattfinden. Dementsprechend muss die EZB also jetzt in eine sich abkühlende Wirtschaft, die deutlich weniger wächst als zunächst gedacht, die geldpolitischen Zügel ein bisschen straffen, will das aber eigentlich nicht tun. Und wenn jemand etwas nicht tun will, es aber dennoch tut, dann merkt man eben die Differenzen zwischen der Benchmark der 10-jährigen deutschen Staatsanleihe und der 10-jährigen italienischen Staatsanleihe immer weiter steigt, über 2% jetzt beträgt. Und jetzt will man Vorschläge machen zu einem neuen Anleihekaufprogramm, wie auch immer das noch aussehen soll. Das wabert nur sehr unkonkret praktisch hier durch die Flure in Frankfurt. Das ist wirklich ein Drama, aus dem es scheinbar keinen Ausweg gibt. Es ist eben so, wenn eine Notenbank ihre Glaubwürdigkeit verliert, dann hat sie eigentlich alles verloren. Jetzt gibt es schlaue Theoretiker und Wirtschaftswissenschaftler wie etwa Pt.2, der sagt, naja, wir könnten noch sowas einführen wie die Japaner, nämlich die sogenannte Yield Curve Control. Und wir sehen ja derzeit, wie den Japanern diese Yield Curve Control total um die Ohren fliegt. Wir sehen, dass der Yen praktisch im freien Fall ist, Dollar-Yen 134, höchster Stand seit 20 Jahren. Die Abwertung geht immer weiter, weil eben die japanische Notenbank Yield Curve Control betreibt. Das bedeutet, wenn Renditen für bestimmte Staatsanleihen ein bestimmtes Niveau erreichen, nämlich in der Höhe erreichen, dann kauft die Notenbank sofort Staatsanleihen, um die Renditen wieder nach unten zu drücken. Jetzt sagt Jörg Krämer richtigerweise, ja, damit würde faktisch die EZB ihre Unabhängigkeit aufgeben, denn je schneller oder wenn die Renditen steigen, dann müsste sie immer mehr von diesen Staatsanleihen kaufen, müsste damit also immer mehr Geld wieder ins System pumpen, würde damit immer mehr Benzin ins Feuer gießen, was die EZB ja sowieso schon tut. Also es ist ausweglos und wir sehen, dass jetzt schon Yield Curve Control diskutiert wird. Das ist natürlich ein Zeichen, dass man auf dem allerletzten Loche jetzt schon pfeift. Andere agieren anders. Okay, die haben vielleicht noch ein höheres Problem mit der Inflation, nämlich die Polen. Zuletzt 13,9%. Hier in dieser Grafik sehen wir mal, wie die Inflation gestiegen ist. Juli 21 noch bei 4,8%. Und dann im März 22 schon über 10, im April 12,3, jetzt 13,9 mit den Daten aus dem Mai. Aber die polnische Zentralbank, die tut etwas. Die hat jetzt die Zinsen um 0,75% Basispunkt, also 0,75% und 75 Basispunkte angehoben auf jetzt 6%. Also da passiert etwas und insgesamt ist die EZB eben jetzt in der dummen Situation, dass auf der einen Seite wahrscheinlich das Wachstum weiter nach unten gehen wird, aber die Inflation hoch bleiben dürfte. Das zumindest zeigen jetzt neueste Berechnungen der OECD. Ob die stimmen, sei mal dahingestellt, aber jedenfalls ist eines klar, das Wachstum, das man sich am Anfang des Jahres erträumt hatte vor dem Ukraine-Krieg, das wird so nicht mehr stattfinden. Dementsprechend muss die EZB also jetzt in eine sich abkühlende Wirtschaft, die deutlich weniger wächst als zunächst gedacht, die geldpolitischen Zügel ein bisschen straffen, will das aber eigentlich nicht tun. Und wenn jemand etwas nicht tun will, es aber dennoch tut, dann merkt man ihm an, dass er nichts tun will. Und das dürfte den Zweifel an der Glaubwürdigkeit der EZB dann noch weiter stärken. Und hier sehen wir eines der Opfer dieser Politik, etwa Banken, die Credit Suisse heute mit einer dicken Gewinnwarnung, einfach weil natürlich die EZB mit ihren Negativzinsen die Banken faktisch kaputt gemacht hat. Auf der anderen Seite hat man sie dann wieder subventioniert, indem man eben gesagt hat, naja, jede systemrelevante Bank, die ihre Kreditsummenvergabe oder die Summe ihrer Kreditvergabe nicht runterfährt, die wird mit Millionen gestopft. Und viele Banken, die groß sind, haben nur deshalb Gewinne noch erzielen können, weil sie praktisch am Tropf dieser Almosen der EZB sind. Auf der anderen Seite aber haben sie riesige Probleme eben mit diesen Negativzinsen auf der einen Seite und mit dann solchen wunderbaren Ideen wie Klimastresstests auf der anderen Seite. Also man kann sich wirklich an den Kopf fassen. Hier sehen wir mal eine Tabelle über den monetären Klimawandel, könnte man sagen. Hier sehen wir Hikes. Und wir sehen ganz wenige Cuts. Wir sehen, dass etwa China die Zinsen gesenkt hat. Wir sehen, dass Russland die Zinsen gesenkt hat, weil der Rubel so stark geworden ist. Weil die Türken machen es jetzt anders. Die haben zwar eine massive Inflation senken, aber die Zinsen trotzdem, weil Erdogan halt so genial ist, wie er ist. Aber ansonsten Hike. Indien 0,5, Polen 0,75. Wir haben dann Australien heute Nacht 0,5% angehoben. Also die EZB muss da irgendwie mit. Jetzt haben wir auf der anderen Seite aber nach wie vor himmelhohe Energiepreise. Okay, die Gaspreise in der Eurozone sind ein bisschen jetzt runtergekommen, aber der Ölpreis, der steigt weiter und wir sind jetzt auf einem klaren Allzeithoch, was den Ölpreis Brent in Euro betrifft. Das gilt auch für die Freunde aus Großbritannien in Pfund, weil ja diese Währungen tendenziell auch abwerten gegenüber dem US-Dollar, auch wenn sich der Euro jetzt in Erwartung eben der Wende der EZB in Sachen Geldpolitik ein bisschen hat erholen können und im Dollar sind diese Preise noch nicht auf einem Allzeithoch. Insgesamt aber ist eben dieser Trend zu weiter steigenden Preisen nach wie vor ungebrochen. WTI-Öl heute über $122. Ja, und das trifft die Amerikaner auch, also nicht nur uns. Hier sehen wir mal, neuer Rekord mal wieder, praktisch bei $5 jetzt die Gallone für normales Benzin, Diesel nach wie vor teurer, aber wir sehen auch, dass Natural Gas, also Erdgas in den USA, immer teurer wird, jetzt knapp unter $10. Auch das sind Viagra-Charts vom Allerfeinsten. Also auch die Amerikaner haben ein Problem, zumal die sich ja auch ein bisschen verpflichtet haben, den Europäern hier ein bisschen Energieträger zu schicken, wie Flüssiggas etc. Das wird in den USA noch eine richtige Diskussion geben, ob man die Europäer einfach mal Europäer sein lässt und diese Ressourcen lieber selber verbraucht. Also das wird eine spannende Geschichte. Spannend wird auch, was dann passiert in Sachen Earnings Season, in Sachen Berichtssaison in den USA. Hier sehen wir die Erwartungen, dass die Gewinne der Unternehmen steigen und steigen und steigen. Das passt irgendwie nicht mit der Kostenstruktur zusammen, die derzeit der Fall ist. Also irgendetwas stimmt da nicht. Irgendwer irrt sich. Entweder dieser Chart, der davon ausgeht, Konsenserwartung der Wall Street Analysten, dass die Gewinne weiter steigen, oder eben die Realität, und ich würde mal für die Realität plädieren, die sich jetzt auch eingeschlichen hat am US-Hausmarkt. Wir haben heute wieder Mortgage Applications gesehen, also Hypothekenanträge, minus 6,5% zur Vorwoche. Seit Wochen kontinuierlich fallen diese Mortgage Rates, auf der anderen Seite die Mortgage Applications, auf der anderen Seite steigen die Hypothekenzinsen, jetzt durchschnittlich 5,4% für eine 30-Jährige. Hier oben sehen wir mal den Chart eben zu diesen Mortgage Applications und unten sehen wir den Chart, der so langsam wegkippt, mit Häusern, die sozusagen dann im Preis angehoben werden, Häusern, die im Preis gesenkt werden. In niedrigeren Preissegmenten werden die Preise bereits deutlich gesenkt. In den ganz hohen Preissegmenten ist es scheinbar den Leuten wurscht. Da sehen wir nach wie vor Preisanstiege. Ja, und dann hat heute Janet Yellen etwas Interessantes gesagt, die ja vor Jahren mal gesagt hat, wir werden zu unseren Lebzeiten keine Finanzkrise mehr erleben. Heute hat sie gesagt, also sie kann sich überhaupt nicht vorstellen, dass diese Inflation ein Jahrzehnt andauern wird, dann schreibt der Wall Street Silver hier, confirmed, inflation problems will last at least a decade. Also damit ist bestätigt, nachdem Yellen ja auch die Inflation als vorübergehend sehr lange bezeichnet hat, dass wirklich diese Inflation doch ziemlich dauerhaft ist. 4 Artikel, meine Damen und Herren, die ich Ihnen heute als Hausaufgabe mitgebe, weil ich ja morgen und übermorgen nicht da bin.
And this company is, take a shot every time I say company. But this firm over here has not been doing very well in recent times. Chicken soup for the soul. I think hard hit by the recent drawdown in because of interest rate rises. But yeah, wow, it's what an incredible name here. I think taking back a look, they're still holding at the close to daily lows there. I think we tried to break down below 305, recovered quite nicely, I think a moment ago. But again, I don't